Hey NSA, it's Melanie DePoli, and I am writing today's article on Instagram. So my interview is with Patrick Allmond. I'll let him introduce himself, and we will get right into it.
Hey, how you doing today? My name is Patrick Allmond, and I run a digital marketing agency in Oklahoma City, and I've been a member of NSA for about 6 or 7 years. Just got back from the Orlando, Florida conference, and I live in this world of social media, and I'm looking forward to talking about Instagram with you.
Awesome. Let's get started with what is your Instagram strategy?
My Instagram strategy is to basically share kind of thoughts and feelings that are on my mind. I tend to be I tend to share a lot of motivation due to a brand I have called Stop Doing Nothing. And so oftentimes it's quotes, it's things I find around me that are inspirational. It's things that just put something on a smile on someone's face and help them have a better day while maybe slipping in a little bit of education without them even knowing about it.
But would you say that it all ties back to your brand directly?
Exactly. I think it's our responsibility as a speaker to share our thoughts and feelings and to basically be as many places as possible. And Instagram really helps with that, except for more in the visual format. On formats like Twitter and Facebook, we have a lot of text, a lot of video, but Instagram is primarily the visual, primarily the image side of the business. And so whenever I have something I want to share that's motivational and very visual, I think Instagram is the best place to put it.
So how does your Instagram strategy fit into your overall marketing and social media strategy?
I think Instagram is one of the platforms I tend to use where things are a little bit more spontaneous and maybe not as well planned as something like a Facebook and a Twitter. It's very easy for me to have my phone out with Instagram and record a quick 30-second video, or take a picture of a license plate I think that's funny, or take a picture of my cat that's just doing something ridiculous. It tends to be a lot more spontaneous, but it's also a good way for me to reach people that are searching for certain things. As we'll get into here a little bit later, a big part of Instagram is hashtags, and it's very easy for me to associate something I'm putting out there with other people or other content that's in a related hashtag. So if I want to kind of piggyback off of somebody else's or find the new audience for a particular thought that I can express in a hashtag, then it's a great place for that also.
Instagram loves hashtags. I call it Instagram soup.
Yep,
Or not
exactly.
Instagram soup, hashtag soup. That's it. So one more question, and then let's jump over to your Instagram account and
Okay.
let's look at what you've got and how you make the decision for what you're going to post.
Okay.
So why do you choose to use Instagram as opposed to the other platforms?
I think Instagram it's a little bit better for people that have a shorter attention span, which is what we have in social media quite a bit. People don't want to look at something for more than a couple of seconds. So people are flipping through Instagram and they're going through it a lot faster than I think people are on Facebook, example. Those are two of my big platforms, Instagram and Facebook. And if I want someone to read a long couple of paragraphs or something more in depth, I might put that over on Facebook. But I know everything I have to put on Instagram has to be able to be read and interpreted within a couple of seconds because people are scrolling, liking. And so I just have to make sure that the content I put over there is very easily absorbed and can put a smile on someone's face happier and does not require as much thinking.
Perfect. So how about we jump over to Instagram and you can share your account and just talk us through how you made the decision to post this or that to Instagram and what your thought process was.
Okay, and just to warn people that might ever be looking at my Instagram account, some of it's not necessarily safe for children, so just be forewarned. So, as I go back here and I look through my recent posts, my most recent post I think was part of a song by Charlie Wilson, and I can't remember the name of the song. Actually, let me play it real quick. What was that? Oh, that's right. There was a song by Charlie Wilson, Smile for Me, which is one on an uplifting playlist I have, and so I just kind of lip sync to that. I thought that was kind of funny. Oftentimes I'll see other things from other people because a big part of social media is syndicating other people's content. So this one that says only a person who risks is free, that was somebody else's content that I re-syndicated. The one before that was kind of a random thing. It was a broken sprinkler head in a house in a restaurant nearby, and I basically put the offer out there. Does anyone want to come and play sprinklers with me? And as we go back through that, we'll see other things by Sigmund Freud.
So let me interrupt you here for a second.
Yep.
Your second one where it says only a person who risks is free, you mentioned how that was somebody else's content.
Right.
And with Instagram, one thing that Instagram prides itself on is the ability to keep content authentic, as opposed to only sharing other people's content. So when you repurpose someone else's content in this case, how do you do it in a way that honors the original poster, but also builds on to your message and your brand?
I cannot remember the original poster on this one, so I probably failed a little bit on giving attribution. Although if it is something I see that's original from somebody else's account, I usually do, versus something that they in turn themselves repurpose. It's kind of a gray area there. The way I repurpose this for mine is gets back into the hashtagging we talked about. You know, I use that with like a life quotes hashtag and a stop doing nothing hashtag. But this one I also like because it stood out color-wise. I mentioned earlier we only have a couple of seconds to get people's attention. So that's what I think, not only the risk factor, but the fact that this one was very bright compared to some of the other ones is the reason I chose this one. So this one, I probably didn't do a good job as I should have on the reattribution of it. But for the most part, if I do see something else, like we have one that's a couple of posts before that, I'll either mark it as original or I will tag it with who it originally came from.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Another observation that I have, and I really like with your account, is whenever you click on any of your posts, it's almost like you have a conversation going.
Yeah, we have the choice when we're on social media to just broadcast and run away from a post that we put up there, or we can choose to create a conversation. And you often hear the phrase that, the whole point of social media is to be social. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think you have a much better chance of your social media post getting traction if you ask questions and you be more interactive than if you just say, here's this thing out here, enjoy it or don't enjoy it, run away. So it's interesting that you noticed that. I was doing that unintentionally, but that is a constant goal with most of my social media, is to make it be a little bit more interactive and conversational.
So what else would you like to highlight about your account? I notice, I see Sierra Madro down in the bottom corner there.
Yeah, the starting, you can actually see starting back, and it'll be one of those things where I have to explain to somebody, but starting actually, if you go back a little bit further in my account, with my early morning Southwestern flight, you can see the rudder of some Southwestern planes, and then coming forward about 3 or 4 posts, those are all from the NSA Orlando conference. So I kind of documented my trip across the country to NSA Orlando. We have the Southwest flight. We have a news story I happened to be in while I was gone. We had a slide from one of the main stage presentations. And then we had, like you said there, a post with Sierra Madro that was at Epcot Center. And of course, for those of you that made it to Orlando know that we got free admission to Epcot Center. The sushi picture, I can't remember really where that was from.
But it was clearly good.
Yeah, I love sushi. And then after that, there was a picture from the Cigar Pig Party, which was hosted by Gina Carr and Terry Brock, which was Friday evening of the conference right there. So you didn't see too many posts, so maybe about 5 or 6 of these posts are from the actual conference right there.
And the news piece that you were talking about, a lot of speakers use social media to help get more media attention.
Right.
So can you talk about how you were able to do that and why you shared it on Instagram as opposed to other platforms?
Okay, the one you're referring to, I think, is one that says KFOR TV at the top.
Yes.
And a quick backstory of this is somebody pretended to be from Microsoft, and please note the air quotes for people that can't see the video. Someone pretended to be from Microsoft and wanted to help me fix a Windows problem on my Mac, which was my first sign right there. But what I did is I actually live streamed on Facebook the call so people could hear how these things work. And then I pinged somebody at the local NBC affiliate, and they in turn picked it up as a story. All that happened over on Facebook, but one of the things I like to do with my social media is like to cross-share to different platforms. So even though this happened over on Facebook, I'll often take pictures of things that happen over on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll share those over on Instagram. And it's important to remember that on your social media accounts, it's not the same people following them on all your accounts. For example, I've got, I think, 10 or 20,000 followers over on Twitter. I've got, looks like 1,018 followers on Instagram. And over on Facebook, I've got 2,200 friends, I think, and X number of followers. And so I'll often cross-share things because it's not the same audience on all three platforms. So I'm always trying to mix and mingle my audiences also.
Okay. And you also mentioned another key point in there, the repurposing of content. It's not that you're taking the exact same piece of content and resharing it massively. You're repurposing it based on the platform to help get further reach.
Exactly. You know, if I'm over on Instagram, I want people to hop over and follow me on Facebook and follow my Facebook fan page and my Facebook profile. If I'm on Facebook, I want people to follow me over on Instagram, but I make sure that they follow in a way that's best for that platform. If I only share, for example, over on Facebook, I'll share things that are from my Instagram account that are very visual, that only apply visually. It used to be, for example, that only the Instagrams and the Pinterests of the world were very visual platforms. Well, Facebook and Twitter have adapted to that now, but I think still that Pinterest and Instagram are the places you go when you don't have a lot of time, when you want to flip through, when you want to see things visually. So my intention with that was for someone to see, hey, and that's going to be more relevant for people that are in Oklahoma. Hey, Patrick did something over on KFOR TV, media related. Maybe I should hop over to Facebook and get the long version, not just the quick flash buy version.
So let's talk a little bit about numbers.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer in numbers never lie, but they also don't tell the whole truth. Mm-hmm. And as speakers, as business owners, we tend to get caught up in more. More is better.
Right.
And you're not successful until you have more. You talked earlier about how many followers you have on Twitter and then how many you have on Instagram versus friends on Facebook, and those numbers are drastically different.
Right.
How do you determine what is a success for you?
To tell you the truth, I think what is a success for me is to make sure that my numbers are always growing. I don't see a particular number as being significant, but for, I know, for example, that like in the past 2 months, I recently crossed 1,000 people on Instagram, and it's only been in probably this past 6 months I've been focusing on Instagram, because in the past I've been focusing on Facebook and I've been focusing on Twitter, and those numbers have grown, and even grown to the point, for example, to where my Twitter account has a little blue check mark now and it's verified. So I think the combination of the number of followers I have and the amount of content I put out has kind of given me, a social validation, if you will. And I'm a big fan of numbers also, but like you said, numbers don't tell the whole story. I always believe that it's a fraction of those numbers that's actually saying your content. And if that's the case, well, then the larger numbers still apply. I've heard other bigger social media experts say, it doesn't really matter if I have 2 million Twitter followers. What matters is the quality. And my answer to that is, if it doesn't really matter, then let me change my 20,000 Twitter followers for your 2 million. And I'll take your 2 million any day of the week. Thank you very much. Even though the numbers don't matter, the larger numbers we have, the more our message can get out and the more reach and impact we have. So my goal is just to always make sure that my numbers are growing. And if they're not growing, it's time for me to focus on that platform a little bit more.
Okay. Had a question and it left my mind.
Now, really, really quick, I want to follow up with that while you're thinking about your question. Oftentimes, I'll look at my social media analytics, like my Facebook page insights or something like that, and they'll give you colors. Red, you didn't gain as many followers as you did the previous week, or the same percentage. Or green, you're doing a little bit better. And that's what I look at. Is I will quickly glance at like my Facebook fan page, and I believe it gives you 6 small charts right away. And if the majority of things are green, that means I did my job. What the actual number is after the green, I'm not really too concerned about, but things are growing. Green is growing, and that's what I like there.
Green is good.
Green is good, exactly. Green is growing and good.
So do you leverage Instagram's daily feature?
No, I do not. This is Instagram. Out of all the social platforms, interesting. Instagram is the one I've been focusing on primarily over the past 6 months. So I have not exercised every single option and marketing feature available in Instagram. My next big thing with them is to try to start running some Instagram ads from Facebook, because I'm a big fan of the paid paid side of marketing, but I have not used that feature yet.
Okay. Well, then that answers the next question too. So let's go back to showing you, unless there's anything else on your account that you would like to highlight.
Nope. We will come back to showing Patrick. Here we go.
Ah, there's Patrick. Okay. What, if any, third-party tools do you use to help manage your Instagram? And then that'll probably bleed over into other social media accounts.
That one's always been a challenge because I run a social media agency and we have to be very efficient with our time. Mm-hmm. So it would always make sense for us to use like a Hootsuite or use the tools to where I put something on the fan page, it hops over and it shares it on Instagram. My take on that usually is, even though it's a little bit more effort, I prefer to natively log on to accounts and post them there. The social media algorithms give better reach and more reach when you log on natively to a platform and upload your stuff. So if you were to use a third-party tool, for example, to upload something to Instagram, not as many people would see it. And that's true for every social media platform. So I used to be a big user of Hootsuite, and I have a Hootsuite account, and I use it on occasion. You have Hootsuite, you have TweetDeck, you have Sprout Social, you have all these social media tools. However, you can take the exact same content on the exact same day and time of the week, and you'll get less reach if you upload it via syndication tools. So I'm the kind of guy that really likes to focus more on natively logging onto the platform. It may not be the best time management, but it's gonna let you take advantage of those numbers we talked about earlier and reach more of those people with a particular post.
So you mentioned how you manage others' accounts.
Right.
And in doing that, Instagram, do you rely on your client to upload to Instagram, or I'm assuming they have customized memes that they want to put up there, or how do you handle that?
Right, it's taking my cell phone right here and logging out of my own personal account and logging over to their account, and so I keep files with all my clients, usernames and passwords, and if they want something up there, I have a local doctor, for example, a female doctor who wanted some content uploaded to Instagram about once a week regarding medical information. I just log out of my account, create the meme or whatever over in Dropbox on my computer, and then I can get to that from my phone, save it local to the iPhone, then I'll upload it to her account from there.
Perfect. So we talked a little bit earlier about tracking results, and I completely agree. Green is good, and that makes it easiest to manage and easiest to document.
Right.
Are there specific metrics you pay more attention to than others?
To me, everything we do in social media has to do with driving people back to our website. And to me, a website is the central hub of all business. So what I will do is, a lot of social media is sharing content, and doing a little bit of marketing to get people back to where you want them to be or to a destination you want them to click on. And so what I will do is, to know whether or not my marketing is working on all the major social platforms, is I will look at, number one, we talked about green is good, the number of followers going up, and doing some cross promotion with hashtags, but also how many people, when I do some marketing promotion, how many of those people am I getting over time to come back to my website? And so I can look at my Google Analytics and say, hey, over the past 6 months, I'm slowly getting an increase from the number of Instagram users that are interested in what I have to say on a bigger picture, and they're coming over to my website and they're learning more about me. So that to me is the ultimate measurement. There's so many soft measurements we can do in social media. Is how much did our account grow? How much reach did this get? How many video views did this get? How many likes did this get? I mean, we can hyper analyze this social media stuff, but at the end of the day, for me, it's the number of people that came to my website and took action. I'm a big believer of building an email list, which is a whole other video we could do. But that's what I want to do, is I want to get people on my email list from all of my social accounts.
So it also sounds like you also have the appropriate setup of behind the scenes to track the Google Analytics, probably to track where people are coming from to look at your website. It's not
exactly.
It's not just about looking at what's going on Instagram per se, but it's about how Instagram is connected to your website and helping you generate results.
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head there. Google Analytics is the hub of my world, and I can go in there and drill down to, traffic sources, social traffic sources, and then look at the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Google Plus, although I don't even look at Google Plus traffic anymore. It's kind of invisible. But I can look at all those sources and see if they're going up over time, if they're going down over time, if maybe I did something on one social platform to cause them to go up. Because Google Analytics has this cool little feature where you can do notations on your chart when you did certain things. So if you really wanted to kind of measure cause and effect, you could say, hey, I put this meme on Instagram, make a little note on your chart, and then see if people, as a result of that, people came over to your website as a result.
Perfect. So another question that popped into my head is, I know also being in the marketing and the social media realm, I get asked questions about, well, how do you balance personal versus professional? Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, it's easiest if you give them a percentage and you say, this percent is this and that percent is this. Do you have any of those guidelines, or do you have any guidelines or rules for yourself or for your clients that help you identify what you will or will not share?
For my clients, I make sure it's obviously all business, because everything we do for a client is on a business account. For myself, I decided a while back that there is no such thing as social media privacy. Everything I put out there is going to get out one way or another. And I have people like, my mom that will only want a certain number of people to follow her Facebook profile, and she segments who a certain post is going to. And I assume that everything I say out there is going to go to everybody all the time. So I have no particular percentage numbers, but I assume that everything I post on social media is a way of marketing Patrick. Whether it's my political view, whether it's me at the gym soaking wet in sweat, whether it's something that I confess that I did wrong, or some good barbecue I'm having. To me, it's all marketing, Patrick. All of our marketing as speakers can't just be, hey, look at me, it's on stage, here's my book, here's my keynote I did, rah, rah, rah. We have to kind of incorporate our personalities into what we do. And so I make sure I put out a big variety of content, whether it's visual, text, or image-based. I do a lot of the food stuff sharing, which I know people absolutely hate. I do a lot of, I'll put out exercise stuff because I really believe that personal fitness is important to your well-being. And I'll share a lot of the travel stuff out there. And all of it is just Patrick in a package, if you will. And that's what you know about me when you hire me. And, my goal for when I show up to an event, whether it be a keynote event or a breakout session, is for the people to already know me and know what Patrick likes. And I think it works to a point, because people come up to me in person, like even at the Orlando conference recently, and they're like, oh, you're Patrick Allmond, I follow you, and I see you like to talk about this, this, and this. And yeah, it may have been on the personal side, but there's no, as a speaker, I don't think there's any personal in business. It's all business. That's the short answer to your question. To me, it's all business, whether it's on your profile or your page.
So you mentioned a key phrase in there that I just had this exact conversation with a client last night. Admitting you made a mistake.
Okay.
Companies and speakers, they get caught up in everything has to be perfect. Every I has to be dotted, every T has to be crossed, and it has to be perfect, but I want to do it fast, so if it looks crappy, it's okay. How do you... And the challenge or the conversation I had last night was, it's okay to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. It's okay to show that you're human. If anything, it makes you more relatable, and people want to learn more about you when they see, oh, look, even Patrick, who has everything together and is perfect, made a mistake.
Yes, I have everything together. That's why I have a stack of unread books over here, and my cat's lying over here, snoring behind me on a chair. My life is yeah, I just think, like you said, and we can go back and forth about this for a while, but it's what makes us human. Whether, I had and oftentimes, to tell you the truth, I look for life lessons in what other people are doing. The one that comes to mind off the top of my head is probably about, I don't know, 8 months ago. I was rear-ended in a car, and I talked about that a lot on social media, and just about the whole distracted driving thing. And I think it's a good lesson for us. And now that was somebody else's mistake, and my goal wasn't to embarrass somebody, but I'm just trying to think off the top of my head any of my mistakes that I've confessed online. And I know they're out there. I would have to go back and search for them. But you're right. They just make us more human. And also, I think that there's a motivational poster out there someplace that says, maybe you weren't meant to motivate. Maybe your life was created to be a warning to others. Some of the things I do in my life are a warning to the kids. Do not try this at home. Patrick's not being the smartest person today. So there's lessons in everything we do.
Awesome. So my final question for you is, what is your single best Instagram tip for speakers?
My single best Instagram tip, oh, goodness gracious. Okay, I'm going to try to work these into, well, no, you know what? Let's talk about the hashtags. We haven't talked about this. I only get one.
No. You can have more than one.
Oh, I can have more than one. Don't look for, number one, let's rehash that last point. Look for lessons in everything. I am a big fan of, license plate creativity, for example. If I see a funny license plate, I'll take a picture of it and get that up on Instagram. That's my first place to get it up. So look for life lessons in creativity in every place, not just your own stuff. I would rather, majority of the time, be sharing other people's stuff and just sneak in my own stuff every now and then. So just always be ready and build up a library of content in your phone to have stuff to post later. My second one would be that I noticed a lot of my Instagram growth started coming out when I went hashtag crazy. And at first I wasn't a big fan of it, but now I look for relevant hashtags. I share those on my Instagram account, and I've noticed I get a bigger cross-section of audience, and I'm building up, my account is growing faster. And so, yeah, Instagram lives and dies by the number of hashtags that you use. Now, I wouldn't say go crazy. I think I've seen 40 or 50 hashtags on a post before. I try to add no more than 10 and make sure that they're relevant. And in addition, I like to always make sure that, I have my own. And one of my brands is Stop Doing Nothing, and I always include hashtag Stop Doing Nothing, which will hopefully encourage other people to eventually use that. So yeah, I'll find popular hashtags, I'll use my own in there, and your growth will just happen.
I've heard that the optimal number, using air quotes around that, for hashtags on Instagram is 30.
Oh my gosh.
That's exactly what I said. When I do use Instagram, I have about the same. I'll do about 10, maybe 15 if I'm stuck in line or something. But beyond that, I'm just like, I can't bring myself to do it.
Sometimes people, I think, use hashtags that are, I'm not sure if the word obvious is, but things that just make sense. Like whenever I see somebody use hashtag HASHTAG, I want to strangle them. Yes. Hashtag, or hashtag Monday, or hashtag, just the simplest things. Hashtag picture, really. Hashtag Instagram. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. Don't get stupid about it, but do use them wisely.
Alrighty, that is all the questions I have for you. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
No, I would just remind people that one of the cardinal social media rules, that if you're going to be on Instagram, be on Instagram. Don't be on there once, post a picture, and not come back for 6 months. It's a very, out of all the platforms, to tell you the truth, it's one of the easier ones to update, because taking a picture doesn't really require a lot of thought. So if you're going to create an Instagram account, try to get something out there at least once a week. And if you're really bold and ambitious, try to get something out there once a day.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick.
Sure thing.